Good morning. Got a bit of a marathon today. Going to clear all of this lot. Just been through with the snips, and then somehow I've got to get over this gate. And then got that to do. So I've charged up all my Ego batteries. I'm getting the brush cutter out, and I think I could be here. It's difficult to judge. It's either going to be like all day, or all day and all tomorrow, or more, or I'll be done by lunchtime. But the challenge is getting in. And we did have a plan for this, but disaster struck. So that's completely on hold. The house is currently being repaired by the council. So, but then we got complaints about the garden. So I've taken today off to get in there with a brush cutter, chop it all down, and possibly get eaten by whatever's currently living in there. But be really careful with the wildlife. And then hopefully it's going to be a nice little garden, a big garden. And we're going to be putting fruit trees and all sorts, the usual. Fruit trees, fruit bushes, area for the dogs. Well, this is fun. So the gate doesn't open properly. The fence post is there falling over. I can only just fit through. This doesn't actually fit through the gate. I'm stood at a weird angle. I'm trying not to hit that polystyrene because I don't want bits of polystyrene all over the place. That might help. We're in. No idea what you can see at that angle. And a table. And that. And some chairs, which I've just hit. Oops. Bit of a way to go. Oops. Yeah, we're still on the patio here apparently. I think the girls have grown out of that by now. Not even halfway there, but I have found the end of the patio. So we'll carry on. It's good to have something big to get my teeth into. I need to charge the battery on this though. About halfway there. It was brambles, mostly. That's hard work, not necessarily fun. Found the end of the patio, dropped down, and now it's mostly nettles and long grass, which is a bit easier to go through. Don't even know what the time is. There's loads of junk, obviously. Fit a few footballs. The garden setup is a bit weird. I'll show you that in a minute. And I'm using the brush cutter. I watch a lot of the videos where they've got something like this and they just go in with a, I think it's called a Ventrac or something. Obviously, I couldn't possibly get that through the gate. I certainly couldn't stick it on my back and carry it over the fence. And I watch them and they're fun to watch, but I do worry about the wildlife that's in there. So I'm using the brush cutter, the Ego brush cutter. BCX3800 or 3800 if you're American. And I've got the 4 amp hour batteries. I've got through 2 of those so far, and I might chuck the big one on next just to get right to the end. And then I could start at the top, gradually work down. Anything that's in there has at least a chance to get away and get out. Hopefully there's no snakes in there. We don't really have poisonous snakes here in Britain. I think we have the adder. I don't think it's deadly. It gives you a nasty bite. Might have ended up in hospital. I'm nervous about wasps' nests, but it's August, end of August actually, so they might be done by now. And any rats, mice, hedgehogs, giraffes aren't a problem because you can see them above the grass. Plus, we don't have any. Well, we do actually. If you drive through the Kent countryside down to Lymm, you might spot llamas and alpacas and elephants and giraffes and zebras and things wandering around because we've got Lymm Zoo down there. That can be a bit odd if you're not expecting it. But it gives the little critters a chance to get out of the way. And the reason I'm doing this is because the council had a complaint about it. Here's Blackbird. Complaining about rats and things in their garden. So I had to bite my tongue and say that I'd come round and do it. It gives them a chance to get away, find somewhere to hide. And then if we get to actually do what I want to do with this garden, there'll be log piles and compost heaps and little places for them to hide, and we could turn this into a productive food forest and wildlife garden that the residents can enjoy, and also a boon for the neighbourhood. Public transport. Privately owned public transport. At least we got it as a bee, wondering what the hell's happened to his habitat. What's weird about this place, you can see where that drain pipe is. See if I can focus in on it. Just there. That's the border between the houses. And next door is privately owned. I'll spin this round. Got to fully extend this thing, otherwise I get a weird rattling sound. You can see this is the council house, council owned. Let's see if I can get some solar panels on the top and a heat pump and completely electrify it. There's the drain pipe beyond that sunbeam. That's the border. But the brambles go all the way to that extension there. And then you go along there and there's a fence. So it looks like the private property ends there and the rest of the land was, I don't know, sold to the council. Or maybe only the only half the garden was sold to the original people who purchased it, because these were all council houses around here. And unfortunately, Maggie Thatcher brought in the right to buy scheme, which meant private individuals could buy their council houses if they've lived in it for long enough. The council weren't allowed to say no. The council didn't necessarily take the full price for the house, didn't charge the full price for the house, and not all of the money that was paid went to the council to buy or build more houses. And that's why we have a housing crisis. One of the reasons we have a housing crisis is councils have been losing houses, haven't been able to replace them, and then people get old, leave their houses to their children, the children want the money, they sell the houses to landlords, landlords then use it for rent extraction or keep it empty as a land bank. And that's why we've got empty properties, Airbnbs, up and down the country, and we've got homeless people and it's got absolutely nothing to do with immigration, asylum seekers, or refugees. And in Ashford, on Ashford Borough Council, we are trying to reverse that as much as we can. And then we can use this land for people who want to live in a nice house, pay low rent, so much garden here to be growing our own food, and restore wildlife, put solar panels on the roof, electrify everything, heat pumps, bring the bills down, insulate the house. This is hopefully what we're doing with this one. And that's how we get this country back on its feet. Common sense and compassion, not hatred and racism. You endeth the lesson. This is a new phone, by the way. I've got it on cinematic mode. I don't know what that means. I think it just blurs the background. It makes me look like a Marvel superhero. Right, I'm going to go get another battery and see if I can get to the end of the garden before I give up and have another sit down. Non-cinematic, this one. So I don't know what the difference is. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's stop. And that's cinematic. I'm going to go back to the other one. Yeah, it just blurs the background. Right, I've managed to get to the back fence in some of it. That's where the complaint came from. The houses at the back. So I'm going to try and get that as clear as possible. But the battery on the other camera is dead. My hands are actually... So I should stop. Using the Ego battery stuff, that doesn't happen as much and it doesn't happen as quick. Whereas with the petrol stuff, I think you gave it 20 minutes before you're meant to stop for a few minutes. Otherwise you can cause damage to your nerves and all that. Hopefully that's not true of the battery stuff. It doesn't seem to be that bad. So I'm going to go get a packet of crisps from the co-op for lunch. Nice and healthy. And then get tidied up. This is what we've got done so far. Hello, butterflies. It is bothering me that the butterflies and the bees, there's eggs and stuff, and I'm probably destroying all of that. But this, unfortunately, had to be done. It was me or someone else, so doing it for free as well. I'm leaving all the crap on the floor to rot down. I'm essentially mulched the entire garden at the same time. And the brush cutter helps to mush it all up. Not like a Ventrac would, although my shoulders are aching, my hands are buzzing, so maybe I should have come in on lied on. And here's the back fence. Really careful down here because this is where the hedgehogs and wildlife is most likely to be. So I'm just keeping an eye out for it. That's next. And you can see, no, it is one place. Okay, if you count the windows, I was completely wrong about the extra land. But it does mean extra work. I did wonder why people in a private house weren't complaining about the garden up against their window. So, okay, got all of this to do as well. This could be a 2-day job, but it's gone a lot quicker than I thought it would so far. There's a wasp. Where's she going? Got a nest round here, missus. Hope not. Right, lunchtime. That's another half hour's work, and that was all brambles, which are a massive pain in the arse. They're not as much fun as nettles and grass, and they flip back and smack you in the face and stab you in the legs like they're fighting back. But I can see the fence there, I can see the back fence there. There's some it's like railway sleepers, like fake ones from B&M, not real ones. That's probably where all the wildlife will be, hopefully. There's a load of junk under there, needs to come out. There's a leylandii there, hate leylandii, but it's in the other garden. Anything overhanging this garden is fair game, so that can be massively trimmed back. It's an enormous garden. But my shoulders are aching and my hands are buzzing. So I think I've been here about 3 hours in total. It's not actually too bad. Didn't know if this was going to take any longer. The big battery is still on full charge, having done that. There's a load of crap needs to come out here. What on earth is that? It's a urine sample or something. Actually, I think it's bubbles. So, another drink, bit of a rest, and Might even have this done by the end of the day. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Right, I'm using the hedge trimmer now because my shoulders are absolutely killing me from swinging that thing around. Should be a bit lighter, even though I've put one of the heavy batteries in it, because all the others are pretty much dead apart from the super big one. So, and we're going to do this without getting torn to shreds. Bugs and beasties all over it. Sorry guys. So if you look at that, there's a tree with berries in it. I don't think it's an elder, not sure what it is. And next door I've got a shrub behind it, and the brambles have grown up into both of them. They're going to be a pain in the ass to get out, but once I do, I can separate those two, and then I can get the end of that leylandi out. Because if you look at the other side, they actually keep it trimmed and looking tidy, and then you get to the end and you've got Boris Johnson's hair going on with brambles up in it. Right, crack on. So using the hedge trimmer, it's a little easier on the shoulder, but it's a lot more difficult on the biceps, and more likely to get stabbed. And it doesn't mush it up like the brush cutter does. Where I've done the brambles, you can barely see that I've done brambles because the brush cutter just churns it up. But where I've done it with the hedge trimmer, there's a big pile of brambles that needs to be got rid of. Other brands are available. I don't recommend any of them. I just needed the sugar. I am done for the day. I can't even get the camera straight. I love this cinematic thing. Those clouds look pretty cool. Epic. I am shattered. This is probably the biggest job I've done so far. And if you enjoy the video, or you skipped loads of it but you're interested in what was happening, we will do it. Please like and subscribe. What I'm doing here, this is completely free, and I will be coming back and carrying on for free. I have actually been doing the front garden for free for a couple of years now, I think, at least a year. It's not the only one I do. I'm not sponsored. I don't have a Patreon. And I'm not even getting money out of YouTube yet because I haven't got enough subscribers. So that's why I need people to like and subscribe, boost it in the algorithm. When I start making money from YouTube and doing these videos, well, basically, I've just cleared that end. And underneath it all is furniture. This property flooded. It's not just people dumping stuff. This property flooded, and it wasn't the residents' fault. Everything was trashed, and it's all been put in the garden. Now it's covered in brambles. What I could do, if I had the money from AdSense or whatever, is I could hire a skip, and I could have a good clear out, and I can get it all out there, and we can get this garden sorted out for the residents and the neighbourhood. But for that, I need the money. So please like and subscribe. Thank you. I've got the SolarPunk hashtag in pretty much everything I do. And I don't talk about it much because I don't want to talk about it. There's lots of people talking about it. There's far too many people talking about it. Not enough people actually going out there and doing it. And pretty much everything I do is SolarPunk. I get up every single morning trying to find a way to make the world a better place in some small way. Or a slightly bigger way, as I feel I've done today. It's a speck on a dot, but if we all do a little bit, it helps. But the whole SolarPunk thing, I was watching a thing this morning. You've got your preppers, you've got your doomsday preppers, and then you've got your SolarPunks. And from the outside, it's going to look very, very similar. But the difference between doomsday preppers is they are prepping for doomsday, clues in the name, and they are trying to protect themselves and their family from some perceived disaster that they're convinced is going to happen, even though it hasn't for the past God knows how long they've been prepping for. And I'd love to know how many shipping containers are buried in the desert in America full of tinned beans and guns. SolarPunk is about preparing for if that happens, but building a world where it doesn't happen and it won't happen in the first place. And it's not about protecting yourself and your family, it's about building community, because that's how we avoid it, and that's how we prepare for it, and that's how we change the world we're in. So that's what I'm doing here. There's a massive garden here. It's a council house. I'm going to try and get some solar panels stuck on it, get it all electrified, get some fruit and veg growing in the garden, because we've got all this land. And this isn't the only garden. We've got another one there and another one there and another one further over, a smaller one behind me. We've got a whole estate full of little gardens there with big green patches. We could be growing our own food. And that's the SolarPunk thing. So I don't always talk about it. I don't always mention it, but I am always doing it. And you should too. Get involved. Don't do this.